What up, everybody? It is the Canna Crew podcast here coming at you. It is your host, the Canna Kid, and some random fool. And we're here tonight with our guest, the Turtle, the Chef Turtle. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hell yeah.
So I guess the jump right into it, and it's a part of the name, chef. So what made you get into cooking, and what are your inspirations, and what are your expertise?
So let's see, what made me get into cooking was my grandma and my mom always cooked with me when I was a kid, taught me how to cook, and I just always had a passion for it. After about 16, 17 years in the culinary field, I decided to jump into cannabis.
Okay.
And just helping patients with the medicine, creating different products, showing people how to use it, and now educating.
Yo,
Right on. We just got hit with the rain pretty hard. Or you did. And that audio. Oh, there we go. All right. So you were a professional chef before you started infusing things, right? Or
Correct.
what was your kind of culinary experience, your professional culinary experience prior to beginning to start to infuse things?
So that's a hard aspect to go with, just because I've been doing edibles since I was a teenager.
Okay.
Before I even got into the actual job aspect of restaurant.
Nice.
But I don't know. I've done everything. I've done catering. I've done everything except like a fine dining. I never really got interested in the fine dining aspect. I've been more of the fill your stomach, savory, wholesome food.
Okay.
But I've expanded in a lot of areas for pastries, bakeries. I've done a lot of catering stuff for Phoenix International Raceway and Firebird Raceway. A couple different resorts out here in Scottsdale. Catering weddings and things like that. And then working most every kind of kitchen from Outback Steakhouse to mom and pop style.
Okay.
So I'd say my favorite one would have been barbecue.
Okay. You like barbecue?
I did it for 5 years, so it kind of held my attention for a good long time.
Okay. Normally you switch around a lot. Got to try something new.
Within a year to a year and a half, I would go from restaurant to restaurant. I would just want to be there to learn as much as I could about the way they do things, the recipes, the way they run the show, and then move to a different genre or a different style. So if I was doing, what did I do? Outback Steakhouse, and then I went to Black Bear Diner for breakfast style.
Okay.
So I like changing it up. I like creativity and everything.
Nice. So you bring that into your infusions, like you kind of, because you have a book, right? Like a whole.
Yeah. I've got an infusion guide book. Basically goes over all the base recipes. Is this rain messing with you guys?
A little bit. A little bit. It's getting. You're fighting for ear space.
No, come on, buddy. It's all good. Sorry about the transition.
Oh,
Come on, butts. But so the book is basically a nice quick breakdown of how to do all your base infusions.
Okay.
Now it gives you all the step-by-step recipes for butter, oil, heavy cream, sugar, alternative sugar, seasonings, honey, and flour. Gives you a homemade RSO recipe to do in your own house, green and yellow dragon extraction, proper dosing. One of my favorite parts of the book, and I'll show up one of the pages, my terpene breakdowns.
Ooh.
Goes over aromas, benefits, effects, boiling points, so you could cook with it with Celsius or Fahrenheit, depending on how you're cooking. Okay. And then the top 10 are strain specific. So all the main terpenes that you're going to see on Leafly are all broken down in this book, as well as many others. But those ones are all strain specific, and not just West Coast strains. I have East Coast and West Coast strains combined in there.
Okay.
So that way it kind of divvies it up
right.
a little bit.
So the book isn't necessarily like recipes like here's some dank ass mac and cheese that you could pop off, but it's more like
it definitely has a few recipes in it. It just doesn't have as many as what do we got there? A little buffalo sauce and lemonade and strawberry blended lemonade.
Okay.
Potato salad.
So there's
homemade chili, vegan chili. Yeah. So there's I think 10 or 12 recipes in there.
Vegan.
Yeah. But then it's a lot of like creating mediums. So like butters and sugars and
yeah, everything you're going to actually use for your base infusion product for your recipe.
Cool. Base infusion. A term I hadn't heard.
Well, your base infusion is what's the first thing you're going to be infusing, and what product are you actually infusing for that recipe? Okay. Because you can say, yeah, I infused a brownie, but what was your base? What was your product that you used for the infusion process?
Because it needs like a fat or an alcohol or something to cling to, right?
It doesn't necessarily need a fat, but for absorption aspects, it does. I have found with sugars and seasonings, because they're granules, using a green or yellow dragon extraction for the simple fact that it's Everclear, that'll dissipate off your cannabinoids. A granule is not going to be, it's going to be like my knuckles. It's not going to be super round. It's going to have little divots in it. So as the Everclear evaporates, those cannabinoids that are sticky have to go somewhere. So they'll lodge themselves into those little sockets in the granules and seal themselves in.
Okay. Fill in the gaps.
It's pretty much, yeah.
All right. Down with that.
So, what is your favorite medium to use when cooking? Your preferred base source?
I don't know if I'd say my favorite, but my main one that I use would be my sugar, because I have it in my coffee each morning. And it's a quick, simple. It's about 15 minutes for activation from consumption, due to the fact that it liquefies in your coffee and then it starts as a sublingual in your mouth and then digests for the rest of the process.
All right, dope.
So what do you think is like I never thought about that either. So the base product is going to determine the absorption rate, right?
Pretty much for the breakdown, yes.
So what's the quickest one?
Sublingual would probably be one of the quicker ways to do it, using like making a tincture, making MCT oil or tincture, or you could do an Everclear tincture if you wanted to, and then cook off the alcohol content.
So,
but that would probably be the one of the two fastest. The other one, which would actually have, instead of a 70% absorption like sublingual, would be 100% absorption, would be to use a suppository.
Let's go. And what do you put in that? Like, how do you make that?
You got a few different recipes. You can look up the recipes online. I'm not going to break that down. But they're basically oil-based and things like that. So that way it goes straight from the freezer and then your insertion. And within 10 to 15 minutes after that absorption aspect, you're usually feeling the effects. And because it's using the colon, you're going to get 100% of the absorption.
Bypass the liver and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness.
So, but I recommend that to my people that are terminally ill or very high pain, or the elderly and things like that have a lot of issues. Mm-hmm. That works wonders for them.
I believe that.
The old prison wallet. No. So I know you're talking about barbecue earlier, and that it was one of your preferred. And I have to ask a question because
Go for it.
Barbecue myself. Vinegar or no vinegar
for
the sauce?
the sauce that I was used to making wasn't made with vinegar. It was a Worcestershire base. But if it's a good vinegar sauce, it's got a good flavor. I could go either way.
All right, I just had to know. I'm not a big vinegar.
I'm not a big vinegar, but if it's a good recipe, I could definitely go either way. I've had some decent vinegar barbecue sauces, and so I can't really say fully one way or the other, but I would prefer the Worcestershire base. It's got more of a sweetness, more of a tang, not that sourness in a sense that you would get from the vinegar, the bitter aspect.
Yeah, I like the tang.
Man, I got one more. What was the first thing you cooked?
What was the first thing I ever cooked? That's
right.
Okay. So I was 5, and it was a little stir fry in the condo that me and my mom lived in.
No.
Stir fry?
A little stir fry, but I chopped up everything myself, cooked everything on the stove myself, I plated everything myself, and me and my mom had a nice little meal.
No.
Stir fried veggies.
And then was that like a big unlock? Did you just like cooking all the time after that, or?
I wouldn't say I was cooking all the time, but anytime we were doing, baking or cooking together as a family, me and my mom, me and my grandma, I was always trying to get involved.
Cool. And did you grow up out here in Arizona?
Yeah, since I was 3 years old.
Hey, me too. Cool, man. So how long have you had that cookbook out?
It's actually, what month are we in? February. So it's just coming up on 1 year that I've had the book out for.
Oh.
I wrote it. It took me about 2 years to get everything the way I wanted it. And I'm still honestly not happy just because I've updated a few things. And
volume 2 is in the works.
Yeah, we can definitely say that.
First anniversary revision.
It'll be about 1.5 years down the road to get it going. But yeah, it's in the works. This was just, I wanted the patients to have a budget-friendly way to understand and make their own edibles and not have to read and do everything that that I like to get into. All the big fat books that are detailed where it's 20 pages just on one infusion. Yeah. Most of these patients just want a real quick step-by-step guide. A few steps, show me how to do it, tell me why it works.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So you have like, because you were saying you recommended like one way to medicate depending on your situation. You have like patients that you teach or help?
I have patients, students, because I educate at my business is Chef Turtle's Infusion Consulting LLC, and I am BBB accredited. So I use their facility to teach workshops. I also do private in-home workshops. And I travel to different patients that aren't able to leave their home to educate them inside their home as well. More or less on how to do it properly, how to dose yourself, how to actually gauge your product so you're getting a base gauge. I won't say an exact dosing just because you would need a test result for the exact dosing, but understanding the percentage loss during infusion and understanding how to get your percentage to milligram to gram breakdown, you have a very good aspect of getting within that 5% ratio for your what you're looking for your total dosing.
What's the most common I forgot how to phrase it. But what's the most common issue you see with new patients and dosing and everything?
So probably one of the two would be either they're very scared to try it out. So I would lead them more towards the CBD aspect right off the bat, just because it's a non-psychotropic way to also get pain relief, anti-inflammation, a little mild stress relief, mild muscle relaxation if you're dealing with cramps and things like that. And the other issue is taking a little too much and then getting a little too high and then not liking the effects and not understanding how to bring themselves out of it.
How to bring yourself out of it. So what is that? There's been times when I'm gonna tell you.
So let's say you eat an edible, and I'll use myself as an example. I'm a low dose to medium dose guy. I take between 20 to 50 milligrams at a time, depending on the pain levels that I'm dealing with and other issues, and still fully functional and all that. So if I took 250 milligrams, which is an extremely high dose for me, and I started getting the spins and feeling a little nauseous or something, I would take a dose of CBD, anywhere from 25 to 50 milligrams, usually a CBD tincture, so I can do a sublingual and get the activation within about 15 minutes. But what that's going to do is it's going to bring your body to your endocannabinoid system, to a homeostasis, and help regulate the intake with your CB1 and CB2 receptors for all the different cannabinoids that you've already consumed. So basically, if you've already consumed way too much as you have, it's going to put a block on it and stop any more consumption and just let everything else bypass and kind of level your head out. So you'll still get body relaxation from it after you take the CBD dose, but the dizziness, the spins, all that's making you feel really weird is going to pretty much go away.
So you'll be chilling, but you won't be tripping.
Exactly.
And
I tell patients that it'll kill the high in a sense.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't want to waste anything. Mm-hmm. You're not necessarily going to waste anything. Your body's still absorbing aspects of it. Yeah. You're still going to have the pain relief. You're still going to have the muscle spasm relief and that kind of stuff. But the spins, the high paranoia, that kind of thing, it's going to help level out and give you a clearer head so you can process.
Okay. So what is, like you said, 20 to 50?
25 milligrams to 50 milligrams.
That's low
of CBD. For CBD, yes.
Okay. What about...
Oh, and for myself, eating the 20 to 50 milligram, I consider it low to medium because low dose would be 5 to 10 milligrams.
Got it.
A true low dose that I would start a patient off on that has never tried it before would be somewhere around 5 to 10 milligrams, and then work their way up from that. Okay. And if they're a fast absorption or a high absorption person, I would start them off at 1 milligram and work my way up with that. Because some people do get that.
At 1?
Mm-hmm.
So what about someone like Jill Barino here? Although I call shenanigans on his claim because I've seen him before. But the people who say edibles don't affect them, what is it that is happening, do you think? And is it, is there a path to success for them, so to speak?
Yes and no. So it is true. There is a percentage of people that don't have an enzyme that breaks down cannabinoids through digestion. Okay. Some of them, the sublingual aspect doesn't work either. Okay. I have yet to have a patient that it doesn't work on willing to go through a test run with suppositories because I guess they're embarrassed or something. It's fine. I get it.
Sure.
So I can't really speak on that manner, but I have had patients that have had mild effects in the past. So what I would do with them is have them take 50 milligrams of CBD prior to eating the edible. So that way it helps basically kick your endocannabinoid system into a homeostasis and a good regulatory aspect. So while you're doing the digestion, it could possibly kick the absorption rate into an overdrive so you actually get an absorption instead of just very mild.
Got it.
But again, there are some people that don't have that enzyme. So no matter what you do, it's not going to take effect. So I would just recommend vape, doing the volcano bags, so you're not having to smoke consistently. The vapors are a lot healthier for you, and you're actually getting a better percentage of those terpenes instead of using a combustion agent.
Sure, because the terpenes matter a lot, right? Especially if you're talking about the medicinal aspects.
Correct. I mean, I do smoke cannabis out of a pipe, combustion all the time. But the terpenes are what's going to dictate how your body reacts to those cannabinoids. So if you guys have heard people smoking sativas and getting paranoid, but then smoking other sativas and being okay.
Yeah.
The reason being is the terpene pellets in those to sativas are a little bit different. So when you understand the way the terpenes are going to affect you, some of them are going to give you alertness, focus, mental clarity. Others are going to give you pain relief, a little euphoria, sedation, calming effects. Some will be happy, creative, uplifting, energetic. And if you get like someone like me, if I smoke certain sativas that have a good high energetic, but also raciness for your mind, I'm going to go into a little panic. So for myself, I prefer carafilene, myrcene, linalool, most of the ones that are going to like sedate aspect, because I deal with pain relief or pain issues in my knee after 2 surgeries. So I like to find sativa hybrids that have those kind of terpenes in them, because it helps, for me personally, slow the mind down, but it doesn't really kill my energy.
Yeah.
So it helps me focus a little more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, different things like that.
Okay.
Knowing those terpenes.
So with your recipes, though, right? Do you, and when you cook and do stuff with fusions, are you mindful of the terpenes in that extraction and the food that you're cooking?
So with my show, yes and no. I try to, and I don't always do it, because I'm sure people can go, oh, well, you didn't do it on this episode. But I like to do for things like that. If I'm using like my lemon bar recipe, if I would like to try to find a citrus strain for that. So those terpenes will help match the flavoring that I'm trying to pull out in that lemon bar, and I'm not having to mask flavors. So if I'm doing my savory stuff, I'll try to find strains that are a little more earthy or citrusy, because I do like using lemon in some of my meats and my fish and things like that. So it just all depends on what kind of flavors you're trying to pull out of that cannabis, plus what you're trying to put it into. It's easier to use it to accent flavors instead of masking the flavors when you're making things. But it doesn't always work either.
Sure. It's art, not science.
A little bit of both when you think about it.
That's the good stuff. Cool, man. So what? I saw you do a lot of stuff in Oklahoma. What's going on out there? I hear the cannabis scene is kind of popping out there.
It's the Wild West, and it's that's an understatement for that out there.
Really.
So I went out there for, what was the first one? Cannabis Awards, and I took home the Best Cannabis Speaker Award out there for that one. Got in contact with some people from the Cowboy Cup and Imperious Cannabis, obviously, because I did the speaker role out here as well. Got set up with them, so I went out there the second time to get set up with the Cowboy Cup, and then the third time to actually go after the invite. And that event was just huge, 30,000 plus people within a weekend coming through. The price tags out there, it is medical, so if you're a recreational patient, just recreational, I'm sorry, it is only medical out there. But if you have a medical card, you can actually apply and get a 1 month medical card as a traveler's card for your visit out there. You just got to do it, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks in advance. But they do accept out-of-state medical cards, but you have to fill out the application to get the Oklahoma one. But the fact that you already have one in another state pre-qualifies you for it.
Oh, nice. Right. So you don't have to go do a doctor's visit.
Yeah, any in-scene visits, because it's just a 30-day pass.
Right.
So
that's pretty cool.
Anybody traveling to Oklahoma who's coming out for June 2nd and June 3rd for the Imperious Cannabis Expo.
Do you know when they're coming here to Phoenix?
I don't know the exact date, but it's July. Don't quote me on this, but I want to say it's the end of July, around July 28th area.
Ooh. Yeah, no, I hear a lot of good things about Oklahoma and the weed scene out there.
The weed is phenomenal out there. And I'm not just saying that because I know a few different growers out there.
Sure.
I'm saying that because I was happy when I saw that weed out there. And then the price tags on them.
Okay.
Couldn't beat that.
That's cool, man. Is it like a lot of homegrown stuff, or is it all kind of controlled like it used to be?
No, so out here, all the licenses are limited. Out there, like I said, it was like the Wild West. Licenses were up for grabs. If you had the money, you could get a license. There's actually growers out there selling their license because they couldn't compete with how big the market was.
Sure.
So, and you have small farms like the Lettuce Bar that are on a smaller scale, and then you have farms like Craft that are one of the biggest cannabis farms out there.
Craft, like
Craft Cannabis,
like
Craft.
not like Craft cheese, but like Craft Cannabis. They started out in Denver, Colorado, I think, or out in Colorado, and they've expanded widely. And they've got a beautiful cultivation out in OKC as well.
Yeah,
so.
You know, because when I heard about Kansas or Oklahoma being popping like that, I was kind of surprised. I just had no idea that, because it's not like the legalization brought the culture, right? Like that was already there.
That was definitely already there.
Yeah, and I had no idea that's how that was in Oklahoma.
But I do know that a good amount of the growers came from Humboldt out in California, and then from Colorado as well, which added to the actual cultivation scene out there.
Yeah.
Not to say that people from there don't know what they're doing, because there's a lot of them that know way more than I do, and definitely know what they're doing. They've shared their skills with me, and it's beautiful. But from what I saw, a lot of people that were in the competitions and stuff were out from Humboldt or Denver, and they've transplanted to Oklahoma.
Okay. Gonna have to check that out, Gilbert. Oklahoma on the map.
But yeah, that cannabis is good. The concentrates are pretty fire.
Yeah.
There's one company, and I don't want to say the name because I can't remember the name, so I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
But they make designs with their concentrates. Like they're putting out roses and dolphins and like all kinds of cool stuff.
Artisanal.
Yeah, it's becoming a little artiste aspect, and it's beautiful.
Cool.
Wax chiseling.
Wax chiseling. Wax
sculptures. Right. Yeah. It was pretty. I didn't want to mess it up. I was looking at my homegirl like, I don't want to dab this.
Yeah,
or you gotta dab it all at once.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Right.
You're so beautiful.
I cut off that dolphin's head pretty quick though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when Homer eats Pinchy.
Oh, God.
You know, oh, Pinchy. Pinchy. Oh, that's great. Right on, man. So what's next on the horizon? You know, we twisted your arm about volume 2 on the cookbook, but what do you got? What do you got going on?
So I guess I should open. I haven't gone public on anything on any of my things, but I did enter the Earl Cup.
Let's go.
So my sugar is entered in the edibles. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
I am up for 7 nominations for the Cannabis Awards.
Nice.
And then, so that'll be in April. April 15th will be the actual awards. And then I'll be in Prescott the 28th and the 29th speaking at the Prescott Wellness Expo. And then...
Of this month?
April.
April, okay.
Yeah, so that'll be a couple months away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like April's when everything's actually happening. Everything's finishing up in March.
Okay. We're thawed out, I guess. It's kind of chilly today. Huh?
It hailed at my house.
All right. It hailed out there?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I'm not used to this.
He lives on the whole East Valley.
I live on the east side of the Superstition Mountains.
Oh, okay, damn.
Yeah, he's out there.
Yeah, no, it's fucked.
So do you get some good snow out there then?
No. That's why we looked out the window. We're like, what the fuck is this falling from the sky?
Okay.
He gets a nice view of the Superstition with snow on it. So.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's not
I'm just far enough.
One time.
One time? Recently, right?
No, that was in like high school.
I thought it was all right.
That was like 10 years ago.
I thought it was a couple years. Right on. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then I guess everybody needs to know, where can we find your cookbook, and where can we get into contact with you if they want to get any chefing going down or any of them infusions going down?
So the cookbook is on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Harvard Bookstore, Thrifty Books, Aid Books, and pretty much any book website you can look up for bookstores. It's very inexpensive. I know on Amazon right now it's only just under $10. I want to say it's like $9.95 or something.
Okay.
You can find that everywhere. You can find me on any social media platform under Chef Turtle 420. If you want to send me an email, schedule a workshop, chefturtle420@gmail.com. Let's see, what else?
Do you do like catering or anything like that?
No, so I don't sell any products. I stopped doing all the catering stuff. I just focus on the actual education aspect of everything.
Nice.
I do consulting hours. I do specialty classes. So if you already went through the workshop and you're like, okay, I got this down, can you show me a recipe or two? I'm always down to do little, recipe hours and things for people. I've done gummy bears or gummy infusions, hard candies, whatever kind of recipes people like to do.
Okay.
I can put them through a decent workshop on that as well.
So what do you actually cover in the basic one?
Everything that's in the book. So if you come to the group workshop or do a basic workshop or the upgraded version, and the upgraded version is a private one at my house with a demo. So it's just a little more pricey, a little longer.
Sure.
But I go over butter, oil, heavy cream, honey, sugar, alternative sugars, seasonings, flour, green and yellow dragon extraction, RSO, proper dosing, gauge loss, definition, so patients better understand the difference between full spectrum, broad spectrum, distillate, and isolate, so they know what they're consuming.
Okay.
All the cannabinoids, and then a terpene breakdown at the end.
Cool.
So I try to pack it as full as possible. And usually my workshops run a little bit longer than an hour just because I do a question and answer. Because I like to make sure all my patients and clients are getting the knowledge that they wanted.
Yeah. No, retention is huge. Like, that's the whole thing, right?
Oh, yeah. And they're always able to hit me up down the road. If didn't ask a question and it just popped in their head 5 days later, hit me up. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, that's dope. Well, right on, man. Good vibes. Always accessible. Always doing the thing. I like that.
I try to be. I do a lot of stuff with veterans organizations and nonprofits to help the community. So it's cool. I try to be as accessible as possible for anybody and everybody. I got a question for you guys, though.
Shoot.
What got you into doing the Canna Crew podcast stuff and the whole thing? Yeah.
I mean, we'd been doing the podcast. The podcast has evolved over time, a few times. So the first iteration of it was maybe a dozen episodes, and it was like us or, there's a few people, so we'd like rotate people out or whatever, but sitting across the table, talking to each other, just hanging out and chilling, right? And bringing up new stuff or whatever. But then COVID hit, right? And the landscape kind of changed a little. And so we started doing a lot of the live shows with people, right? And
I get that.
That was super cool. Like, hey, who wants to smoke a bowl kind of thing. And it was kind of new at the time. And it was, that was popping. So we did that for a while. And then those things kind of became the podcast, so to speak. We kind of stopped doing the one thing and doing the other. But then maybe in October, September kind of time frame, we're like, hey, let's go back to the interview thing with a big focus on, because before it was kind of the homies, but then we're like, a big focus on local people that are doing their thing in the community, and then just people in general that are super cool, like glass blowers from out of state or whomever. Like, we've got a couple people, but just kind of went to that, and we also found it was a good way to started doing it before our Can of Kickback, the most recent one, and it was a good way for us to make some content for people who were like gonna be there as vendors or whatever.
Right.
You know, and like a nice little promotional deal. So we're just trying to figure out ways to get good stuff for the local community, for the cannabis community, and kind of connect people. And
okay, I like that. Heck yeah.
So,
well, I'm gonna make sure I have a couple books on hand. The next time I see you guys, I got some books for you.
Let's go.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm interested in some of those extraction things because I always see like them doing like the cotton candies or something at the events.
Yep.
With the
and you can do that with a powdered sugar aspect. So you would make an infused sugar and then just put it in a coffee blender and hit frappe until it, you get confectioner's sugar that way, and it's all infused. So.
Yeah, I always tend to overdo it with edibles. One time, because we've come a long way, right? Like,
oh yeah,
used to the dosing of the edible thing, like that wasn't. Like milligrams of THC used to never be a thing, right? Like that was
non-existent.
It was grams of keef, or how much shake is in this crock pot kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it was really easy to overdo it. I definitely had thought like we made edibles once, and then I thought people could read my mind.
I could.
I did the math. I did the math on some of the edibles I used to make, and that blew my mind and made me go, that's why people were passing out.
Yeah, that's why you get the cop stealing the shit from the evidence locker, calling the ambulance, like, I think we're dead.
That video?
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Right on, man. Well, I'm glad you came on. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Can't wait to get my hands on that book and start whipping in the kitchen, yo. Let's go.
There's a picture from Vegas on this book too.
Very nice. Who doesn't like a good Vegas pic?
Catching the Cubs.
Make your dreams come true.
That's real, man.
I'm doing it. And then let's see where we at. There's the email. I am again BBB accredited. Come learn from me. I'll teach you everything you need to know.
That's dope. Very nice.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, and then I guess I could get the show on there for you.
That's a YouTube show you do, or what's?
Yeah, so that's my culinary show on YouTube, Chef Turtle's Infusion Kitchen.
You just make new recipes and stuff?
Yeah, I've got 43 or 44 episodes on there.
Cool.
I'd say 39 to 40 of them are actually recipes. I do have a couple that are just for fun. One of them, and I will challenge you two to it too. The 100 joint challenge.
Holy smokes.
I smoked 100 joints in 10 hours. It was a total of about 70 grams. There's only one rule. You just cannot fall asleep. You can eat meals, because I ate too. You can drink a bunch of water. You can take a quick break, so you can breathe, because it is a lot of smoke. I don't want you to burn your lungs out.
Yeah.
But 100 joints. It doesn't matter if it takes you 10 hours or 20 hours. If you can get through it without falling asleep, you're passed.
Let's go.
Challenge.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's all over that. That's
all right.
We've been trying to figure out some kind of stamina competition for his smoking. He's like, I'm not gonna take the biggest bong rip or the fastest, but I will outsmoke anybody.
So that 100 joint challenge will put you to the test, brother.
Let's go.
It put me to the test.
Is that your thing? Is that you come up with that, or?
Me and a buddy of mine. He was telling me I should do a goofy video, and we started looking up different challenges for cannabis. He's like, dude, you need to do like the 50 joint challenge. Fuck it, 100 joint challenge. Oh. I'm like, okay, let's see if it exists. And it didn't exist. So we did it, filmed it, and then now it's online, and I'm trying to see who can actually do a 100 joint challenge.
Let's go.
Also, because Snoop Dogg he says he smokes 80 blunts a day. Now, I'm not going to say I doubt it, but after smoking 100 joints in 10 hours, there's no possible way unless you're smoking on 80 blunts and then passing it off and going to do your stuff.
Reasonable.
Which that sounds pretty legit, right? For someone who's like out in the world Like,
Oh yeah, I
You
mean
know,
you're
like-
puffing on 80 different blunts that you're having rolled. You're probably getting through a good amount of it with your buddies while you're doing stuff. But to sit there and just smoke, it's
The
like 10 hours.
consumption
Yeah,
alone.
yeah. I mean, think
it's
about
insane.
the equivalent in cigarettes to that, right?
I'm
Like,
good.
well, I mean, because like 80 blunts, that's 80 tobacco wraps or leaves. Or
Well, he doesn't smoke tobacco wraps. He only smokes hemp wraps.
Oh, okay.
Once the hemp wraps came out, if I remember right in one interview, he said he switched over.
Dope. I
So-
don't smoke the tobacco wraps anymore either. Can't.
I don't mind them, but I'd rather if it's gonna have tobacco in it for a blunt, it's got to be a Swisher, just to remind me of where I came from.
Let's go. Keep the roots strong.
Yeah.
On that one. I ain't mad at it. You're a 5-pack of Swisher guy? Swisher 5
Back in the day, that's what everybody had around me, so that's kind of what I enjoyed myself. But to me, a blunt was a blunt. We'd roll up those big old white owls that came in those colorful tubes back in the day
Yeah.
as the king size.
Oh.
It didn't matter to us, but the grape Swisher was, I think, probably the first blunt I ever hit when I was a kid. It's just that nostalgia.
Yeah. I ain't mad at you. I don't like the tobacco blunts, but if someone came at me with the icy Optimo, I'm smoking that.
See, everybody's kind of got that one. But yeah, if I had to choose, I'd probably choose a hemp wrap over anything.
You
Or a
tried the
joint.
tea? You tried the tea leaves?
I have not.
Yo, there's two. There's
don't
one
think
that's
so.
called Camo. That's cool. And then there's these other ones called High Tea. And you like
Okay,
find
yes,
at the
I have.
gas station. The High Tea
Yes, a friend of mine rolled one of those up, so I have tried that.
wasn't too offensive then.
No, wasn't too.
What about the Gojis?
No, I don't think
No
so.
Goji berry? There's these cones that have been around for a while that are fire. And then King Palm just released these wraps that I haven't tried yet.
I've tried a lot of King Palm stuff,
Okay.
but the goji, I don't know.
Goji berries, man. That's a weird. It's a
Weird
weird
flavor.
texture.
Yeah, man.
Weird
They
texture.
burn super slow though.
Okay. Oh, take a little bit of honey and throw it up in your
Okay.
blunt. I mean,
Anything
that'll
else
do.
burns slow.
That'll make it burn slow like we did back in the day. But now you can take some concentrate, lace that whole blunt 3/4 of the way down. Heck, I wouldn't even go that far because you're gonna end up dripping out of your end of it by then. But a good halfway down, and you'll get a good slow burn on that, as long as it's an even spread.
Yeah, sounds lit.
Or do some sauce. That would be good.
That'd be flavorful, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. I feel like I could come up with random questions forever. So we'll cut it here, and I think that I think that was good.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you for coming on. I know you got
Oh, it was my pleasure.
to get ready for maybe work tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know if anybody messaged me, but at this point, I'm not worried about it because it went up and down on that one. But you got 3 more days. All right, cool. Forget what I just told you. Okay, cool. You got it. Whatever.
Let's go. Yeah. Right on.
I'm that on-call guy. I'm the first one they call when they need something covered. But
That's fun.
yeah, well, I don't care. It's easy work, easy money. And I get to do all my scheduling and stuff and not necessarily all my content, but some of the motivational content that I do while I'm on the road.
Cool.
So,
Chilling, just thinking about stuff.
yeah, a lot of it started out for me with what I was going through at the time. So instead of going to talk to somebody, I talked to myself. In the camera aspect, that's why that whole "hey you" kind of an aspect kind of gets your attention.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much it started out with all the stuff that I was going through and just kind of telling myself, this is how I need to handle it. This is what I need to do.
Yeah.
And if I'm going through it at that time, I'm sure somebody else was. So I threw it up with a little music and hopefully it helps others.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Like that. Hey, man.
That's what I'm all about.